good evening. And let us at once lift that word good into its spiritual sense. For this is not merely an evening on the calendar, not a meeting of minds with new notions to trade, but an evening of guidance, an evening of communing with guidance, an evening of consenting to be taught, not outwardly by a louder voice, not inwardly by a busier argument, but by that quiet that reveals what already is. We are not here to add something to ourselves, as if we were empty shelves to be stocked with ideas. We are here to touch what is already within us, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, and to let that contact settle us into certainty, not shouted, but revealed. Let us try to understand that when we say instruction tonight, we do not mean what we learned in our school days, facts lined up on a blackboard to be copied and recited. We mean instruction in its spiritual sense, which does not add to the mind. It alters the atmosphere of the heart. There comes a change of consciousness, and in that change, without syllable or sentence, there is a knowing. You see, there is a way of being answered that does not talk, yet it convinces. There is a way of being led that does not push, yet it brings us to the door and somehow through. And I am going to interrupt myself here to say this as plainly as I know how. True guidance is not louder thinking. It is an inner certainty that arrives when we touch what is already within. Now, lest we run off into some delightful cloud where no choices ever appear, and bills never come due, and people never behave like people, let me correct that at once. I don't mean that it leads to a life of sitting up on cloud nine, untouched by human events. Decisions will still be part of life. Letters will still arrive. The telephone will still ring. But something changes about where we look for our answer, and something changes about what the answer feels like when it comes. It is not strain. It is not panic. It is not the mind setting up a courtroom with arguments for and against. It is a settling. When the Holy Spirit has instructed, you will not primarily have a sentence to quote. You will have a peace that holds you steady. And right here, we face the dilemma that has tempted us, all of us, to despair. If the Holy Spirit guides, why do I so often hear only my own mental chatter? Why does the clock tick, the heart race, the thoughts rush, and no certainty appear? Have you not noticed that the more we weigh and measure, the less sure we become? We put one reason on this side and one on that, and before we know it, we have become bookkeepers tallying anxieties. What is wrong? Nothing is wrong with God. Nothing is wrong with guidance. The error is only in where we are listening and what we are calling voice. We have been straining our ears outward for a thunder, and we have been whipping our minds inward for a verdict. And all the while, guidance is of another order. It is not a statement added. It is a presence recognized. It is not a command that alarms. It is an assurance that settles. When that assurance has come, you will not need to convince yourself any longer. You will know. Where, then, do we find it? You already know the answer the Master gave. The kingdom of God is within you. Go within, shut the door, pray in secret, and your Father that seeth in secret rewardeth you openly. In other words, do not roam the horizon for a star to point the way. The star is within, the classroom is within, the instructor is within. Where I am, God is. Where God is, I am. If we can begin our evening on that ground, we have taken the first and greatest step. We do not have to persuade deity to descend. We need only return to the sanctuary already established and become quiet enough to notice that another is present and that this presence has its own light, its own government, its own way of making things plain without a word. I am not speaking theory to you. By now, I am in a position to say this to you with a great deal of authority earned the long way, through blundering, through not knowing, through discovering at last that I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. And excuse me for repeating it so soon, but I must, because it will be the method of our evening. When personal strain stops, guidance begins. So do not be alarmed if, at the start, all you can hear is your own mind rehearsing the same lines. Quietly, tenderly, we will learn an art. And I am letting you in on the secret. It is a learnable art. Not reserved for the few, not denied to the many, high or low, rich or poor, saint or sinner. This inner instructor is as available as breath because it is as near as your own being. Now remember this. We are not here tonight to make God speak. We are here to become still enough to realize that God is already here. And when I say God, let us take it in its most intimate meaning. Not a power out there to be hired, but a presence in here to be realized. If you can accept that much, even as a holy experiment, the rest can be learned. We will explore together how to recognize the difference between mental chatter that demands and spiritual assurance that settles. We will unlearn the habit of looking outward for signs, and we will learn the sweet, simple habit of returning inward until peace is present, even if only for 5 seconds at first, and then 10, and then a minute, and then, well, then you will find that decisions take on a different character and outcomes begin to harmonize not by luck, but by alignment. Do you doubt that such guidance could touch the visible world? Do not worry about that yet. The Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly. First, let us find the secret place. Tonight, let us agree on this foundation. Instruction beyond words is real, and it is recognizable by its fruit in the heart, quiet, sure, free of compulsion. From that center we will proceed. For now, open your hands, relax your argument, and let us welcome an evening of guidance, not shouted, but revealed. Let me tell you how I learned this, not by theory, but by stumbling. The strange thing is, I didn't know how to be guided. I knew how to pray in the way that meant words, many words, and I knew how to make lists. What might happen if I did this? What might happen if I did that? I could set up a courtroom in my mind with witnesses, exhibits, arguments for and against, and my friends, I could exhaust myself and still have no verdict. Prayer, for me then, was effort, reasoning dressed up as reverence, self-persuasion colored as faith. And I'm going to interrupt myself here because this is where some of you are tonight. Very sincere, very devoted, and very tired. You are not irreverent. You are not far from God. You are only listening on the wrong frequency and calling the noise guidance. There came a season when that old way failed me. Decisions pressed in like a storm on both sides of a narrow street. There were bills to be met, letters that demanded answer, people who expected agreements by yesterday, and the more I tried to think it through, the more the ground shifted under me. Do you know that feeling? Between worlds. The old way of deciding, add up the columns and choose the larger total, had lost its authority. But the new way, I had heard whispers of it in Scripture, be still and know that I am God. And again, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. But these were verses in a book, not an experience in my heart. I was at sea, not the kind that drowns, the kind that disorients, where even the horizon goes missing. On such a day, I did something that looked like defeat. I stopped. Not heroically, not with a posture or a plan. I stopped because I had come to the end of myself. I pushed the papers back. I closed the ledger. I put away my impressive argument and said, without any holiness at all, Father, I can of my own self do nothing. I didn't mean it as a method. It was a sigh. And into that sigh came, how shall I describe it without turning it into a slogan, a soft falling away. Thoughts did not answer me. They loosened their grip. The chest that had been tight softened. The head that had been hot cooled. And the room, which had been crowded with urgency, grew very simple. No message, no words, only a presence, and with it a certainty that did not explain itself, but did not need to. It was as if something in me had sat down and smiled. Now listen closely, because here is the part that convinced me. In that peace, I did not receive an instruction to do this or not do that. I received rest, and out of that rest, without effort, one next thing presented itself as the only thing to do, so ordinary, so unheroic, that I might have missed it 100 times before. Make that one telephone call, not to argue, to be present. And I did. And the conversation that had been sharp the day before turned gentle in 3 sentences. The person on the other end, who had been as tied in knots as I, softened, and together we found not a victory for me over him or him over me, but a way through that blessed us both. And then, please hear this, because it is the way the Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly. The payment that had been delayed without reason arrived. A letter that had been misdirected came to hand. The outer storm did not become blue sky in a second, but the wind changed, and before the week was out, I found myself walking in a different air. What prompted it? What gave that little telephone call such a sweetness? I do not know in the sense of technique. I only know this. Before the call, there had been a change in me, and that change carried its own authority. It was not confidence from a good argument. It was assurance from a different consciousness. And that assurance did not shout, "You are right." It whispered nothing, but it settled me into rightness. Beautiful. And because I am honest, I must tell you that I did not trust it at first. I thought, coincidence, luck. He got up on the right side of the bed. So I returned to my old habit, make another list, build another case, push another rock uphill. And with that, agitation returned as if it had been waiting in the hall for permission to come back in. The next time, being more tired and somewhat chastened, I stopped again. I slipped into that same unearned quiet, not a trance, not a special effect, just a stillness. And again, in its wake, a plain next step appeared, and the outer scene yielded. After 2, 3, 10 such episodes, even a stubborn man begins to see a pattern. When personal strain stops, guidance begins. When I lowered the volume of my mind, I did not become passive, I became available. And when I became available, the inner instructor who had been present all along could do the work. Do not imagine that in those first months, I walked above the world. I stumbled like a child learning to take steps. I would give in to pressure and then remember. I would act from fear and then return. I called it backsliding and scolded myself. But that was just more noise. The truth was simpler. I was between worlds and learning the gravity of the new one. In that new gravity, arguments do not hold things up. Peace does. In that new gravity, the most helpful instruction is not a sentence you can quote to your friends. It is the change of atmosphere within you that carries its own conviction. And there is a way to test it. Mental chatter demands. It hurries you. It says, now or never, if you do not move, disaster. Spiritual assurance settles. It says nothing, and yet you know, I can wait an hour, I can wait a day. And when I waited in that spirit, the so-called emergency often revealed that it was no emergency at all. I am letting you in on the secret that was given to me, not as a secret to keep, but as a life to live. The first unmistakable sign of the Holy Spirit is not a message. It is a change of consciousness, and that change carries its own authority. And now, by now, I am in a position to say this to you with a great deal of authority, not because I have read it, but because I have watched it work in the little and in the large. My business relationships became more harmonious without my learning any new tricks of negotiation. Supply found its way to me without a new scheme. Decisions grew simpler without becoming careless. The Father within doeth the works. And I'm going to add this because it opens the next door for us. What happened to me by accident, by exhaustion even, need not remain accidental with you. Meditation is something of an art that can be learned, and in it we are not manufacturing a guidance. We are uncovering the guidance that has been present, drowned out by our own good intentions. If all you can manage tonight is 5 seconds of laying down your arms and letting the inner air clear, take it. If tomorrow morning it is 10 seconds, receive it. Gradually, you will recognize the taste of this peace, and you will return to it, not to escape life, but to be led in it. And then the outer fruit will appear, not because luck has improved, but because alignment has been made. Now remember this: you will never need to know problems. You will only need to know God. And the way you will know God, for our purposes, here and now, is in that sweet, authoritative silence within where certainty lives without a word. If the mark of true guidance is that unargued certainty, then the next honest question is, where is it? Where does one go to be taught in that way? And the answer is as old as the Master's own words, and as fresh as your next breath. The kingdom of God is within you. Now let us raise that from a verse in a book to a place in consciousness. Within does not mean deep inside some organ, nor does it mean somewhere you cannot reach without special credentials. Within means the sanctuary of your own being, the temple not made with hands. Within means the living presence at the center of you. When you are told, go into thy closet, shut the door, and pray to thy Father which is in secret, do not look around your house for a better closet. Go into your own inner sanctuary and close the door within yourself. The door is the turning of attention. The closet is the quieted heart. And the Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly. Now I am going to interrupt myself to clear away a picture that has confused many of us. When I say Holy Spirit this evening, let us mean the activity of God's presence within us, illumining, correcting, sustaining. Not a gust of religious emotion that visits and then abandons, not a sensation to be chased and imitated, but the quiet government of the presence that is already here, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. When the Holy Spirit acts, it does not argue, it reveals. It does not flatter, it clarifies. It does not whip you into a frenzy of duty. It settles you into trust and then lifts the next step into view as naturally as morning lifts the light. In that sense, the Holy Spirit is not a visitor from afar. It is the teacher at home in its own house, and you are that house. Why then have we been so poor at finding it? Because, and I say this gently, we have gone everywhere but home. We have roamed the horizon for a sign. We have asked this authority and that authority to speak louder than our fear. We have searched the sky for a handwriting and the ground for an omen, as if the teacher were a reluctant stranger who must be coaxed. And so we put out a fleece and toss a coin and read a horoscope of circumstances, and the more we look outward for thunder, the more our own mind supplies noise to imitate it. Do you see the trap? The mind looks for authority it can point to and say, there, that made me do it. Because then, if it goes wrong, it can blame the sign. But spirit is recognized in stillness, and stillness gives us no one to blame and no one to praise, only the sweet responsibility of obedience to what we know in God. Be still and know that I am God. Not think a better thought about God, no, and knowing comes not with commotion but with quiet. Now remember this, if the kingdom is within you, the classroom is within you, and the instructor is within you. Where I am, God is. Where God is, I am. That is not a slogan to be paraded. It is a location to be realized. The outer world has its noble uses. Books will remind you. Teachers will encourage you. Gatherings like this will point. But none of these can do the one essential thing. None can enter your inner room for you. None can turn your attention for you. That is your holy liberty and your holy office. high or low, rich or poor, saint or sinner, the door opens the same way for every one of us. We turn, we go inside. We close the door on the arguments, on the clocks, on the lists, on the imagined penalties and prizes, and we consent to presence. What then is outer searching but delay? Having eyes, see ye not, having ears, hear ye not. We have seen many things with the eye and heard many words with the ear, and yet we have not discerned. Why? Because discernment is of spirit, and spirit is realized, not imported. We have said, if this happens, I will take it as a sign. And then another thing happens, and we say, perhaps that is a better sign. And at the end of the day, we are surrounded by signs and empty of certainty. That is why the Master spoke so bluntly of a wicked and adulterous generation seeking after a sign. Excuse me for the strong language, but it serves a purpose. It jars us loose from dependence on the outward and throws us back where the truth has always waited, inward. Browning put it as a poet must. Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things. He called it the imprisoned splendor. Scripture calls it the indwelling Christ, the hope of glory. I call it, for tonight, the inner instructor. And I want to make this experiential for you, even here in this very breath, when you close your eyes, not to escape the world, but to withdraw attention from its clamors, and when you let the shoulders drop and the mind stop choosing sides. Do you notice the faintest change in atmosphere? Do you notice that the insistence of a moment ago has already softened by a degree? That is the threshold. Do not try to rush past it with a demand for information. Stay there. Let the inner air clear. Let God be God in you. The Holy Spirit, as the activity of that presence, will do its own work, illumining if illumination is needed, correcting if correction is needed, sustaining because sustaining is always needed, and it will do so without drama. If a thought is given, it will come on the tide of peace. If no thought is given, peace itself will be the gift, and from that peace the next ordinary rightness will appear. Please do not mistake this for passivity. This is not an escape hatch for the weary. This is alignment. When you and I return to the presence already established within, we are not turning away from life. We are taking our rightful place in life, where I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. In that alignment, your steps are guided, because the guidance is not an order barked from outside. It is a life arising from inside. Your integrity strengthens not because you grimly choose it, but because in that presence you see that integrity is your nature. Your patience grows not because you grit your teeth, but because hurry loses its authority where certainty is felt. And so I am letting you in on the secret that is no secret at all, except to the noisy. The inner instructor is not found by roaming outward. It is recognized by returning inward to the presence already established. Go within, close the door, and wait, not as one who begs, but as one who has come home. Wait until the atmosphere changes by even half a shade. That is enough. In that shade lies the teacher. In that teacher lies the way, and the Father that seeth in secret will, in his own good manner and time, reward you openly, not by luck, not by magic, but by the law of alignment that turns invisible assurance into visible harmony. Now, because we are learning to trust this withinness, we must deal lovingly and honestly with the puzzle that everyone in this room has faced. Two voices in one head. And I am going to say something that may feel like an exposure, but it is meant to be a relief. Many of us, in our sincerity, have called anxiety guidance, and then we have called peace passivity, and afterward we wondered why our steps felt unsure and our results uneven. Do you hear the tenderness in that? I am not judging you. I am confessing a habit we share. The human mind, outfitted with fear and trained by calendars and clocks, and the praise or criticism of others speaks loudly, quickly, and often. Spirit present within speaks not at all in the language of words, and yet convinces with a certainty that needs no argument. Without a framework, we confuse the two, and confusion is costly. Let us name the chatter with precision so you can recognize it on sight. Mental chatter demands. It comes with urgency as its badge of authority. Now or never. If you delay, you will lose. It sets up arguments like folding chairs in a courtroom and then calls its own witnesses. Consider what happened last time. Think of what they will say. Have you counted the cost? It repeats itself. It repeats itself. It repeats itself. And even after repeating, it revises. And after revising, it demands fresh confirmation. And even with confirmation, it does not rest. It tightens the chest. It speeds the breath. It paints pictures of consequences, and it frightens you with them as if fear were wisdom. It needs to convince you because it is not convinced. It wants other people to agree so that it can borrow their courage. It is easily offended. It hates silence because in silence, it loses its audience. Now contrast that with spiritual assurance. Spiritual assurance settles. It does not demand. It frees. It does not argue. It replaces argument with a simplicity that, strangely, does not feel like simplification. It feels like truth. It has no theater to it. It carries no trumpet, no drum. And yet, when it is present, you know. You may not know why you know, but you know. Your shoulders drop of their own accord. Your breath lengthens without you instructing it. The mind, which had a dozen urgent reasons lined up, looks again and cannot remember what the hurry was. There is a sense of rightness that is not self-congratulation. It is release. If a step is to be taken, it appears as the only natural step. If a delay is in order, you are free to wait without the dread that punishes waiting. If no step is given, the peace itself becomes enough until the next ordinary rightness shows its face. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Do you see the order? Peace first, direction as fruit. I want to put tools in your hands that you can use while sitting at your office desk, while stirring the soup, while walking from the car to the door. Simple questions, clean, compassionate, and honest, that train recognition. Does this thought bring rest, or does it bring pressure? After I entertain it for 60 seconds, am I quieter or noisier? Does it broaden my heart toward the others involved, or does it sharpen my sense that I must win? Could I lay this thought before God and be at peace if it were delayed a day? Would I be willing for the good it seeks for me to flow equally to the other person? If I close my eyes and become still for 30 seconds, does this thought grow clearer in the quiet, or does it fade because the atmosphere that nourished it is gone? The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. Let that be your test. Is it keeping you, or are you keeping it alive with effort? Now remember this, and I say it with emphasis, because it has saved me more wasted motion than any rule I know. Spirit does not compete with the mind. It supersedes it. When spirit is present, the argument stops. Not because you have forced it to stop, not because you have won the case, but because the case has dissolved. You are not persuaded, you are settled. The courtroom empties. In the light of morning, candles do not argue with the sun. They simply cease to be needed. In the same way, when assurance arises from the presence within, the mind does not have to be gagged. It loses interest in its own performance. Beautiful. I must confess, there was a time when I mistook determination for discernment. I called 3 friends to get 3 opinions, and depending on which made me feel less afraid, I called it confirmation. I stacked pro and con like a bookkeeper and added them twice to be sure. I hurried because I thought haste was the mark of courage. Excuse me, but that was fear in a necktie. and not once did that manner bring the quiet fruit that God brings. But the moment I withdrew, even for a breath, with that simple admission, "Father, I can of mine own self do nothing," the fever broke, and with the fever breaking, either the next step became self-evident or the necessity of no step at all revealed itself. In either case, I was kept. Do you hear that word? Kept. Let me give you some practical distinctions that will guard you. Mental chatter speaks in ultimatums. You must or else. Spiritual assurance speaks in liberty. You may. Mental chatter cannot wait. It insists that the window closes at midnight. Spiritual assurance can always afford the space of a prayer. It honors the law of Sabbath even in the midst of decision. Mental chatter thrives on witnesses and announcements. It wants your plan published by noon. Spiritual assurance prefers secrecy. It does not need to be seen to be sure. Thy Father which seeth in secret is enough authority for it. Mental chatter will counsel corners to cut and promises to shade if only you can have your answer now. Spiritual assurance strengthens integrity and patience. It never asks you to leave the truth to serve a good outcome. If a thought requires you to be less than true, you may be certain it is not of the inner instructor. And I am going to interrupt myself to say this because it will spare you from a common confusion. The goal is not to pick the right thought out of a pile of thoughts. That only keeps you in the courtroom, sharper perhaps, but still litigating. The goal is to enter the condition in which the right knowing appears without argument. You do not manufacture this condition. You return to it. You return to it by turning within, by consenting to hush, by letting the breath normalize, by saying, not as a tactic, but as a truth, "Where I am, God is. Where God is, I am." In that climate, what is true stands of itself. And if nothing stands, then rest stands. And from that rest, the true will present itself in its hour. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first, know second, act third. Not act first and pray you guessed right. A word about time, because fear uses the clock as its chief accomplice. Any guidance that cannot survive 30 seconds of silence is not guidance. Any impulse that cannot abide the night and be looked at again in the morning light of prayer is suspect. The Spirit has no terror of time, because the Spirit governs time. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. If they are ordered, they are not hurried into disorder. They are paced. Trust that pacing. Dare to disappoint fear by not rushing. The inner instructor has never lost a child because the child waited to be sure. Now you may say, "But if I do not answer, they will think me weak." And I say to you from experience across many tables and telephones, weakness is not in the waiting. Weakness is in acting without assurance. Power belongs to the one who is settled in God, even if the answer is not now, even if the answer is no. When that answer rises out of the presence, it will carry its own quiet authority, and the outer scene will rearrange around it in ways that your industrious mind could not have planned. And if it does not rearrange at once, you will still be kept. For peace is not a reward at the end. Peace is the guide all along the way. So let us adopt, beginning this evening, a simple rule that can govern a home, a business, a conversation, a life. When agitation speaks, do not obey. When assurance settles, proceed. If assurance is not present, return within until it is. If you cannot find it, do not pretend you have it. Wait and be honest. Ask your little questions. Does this bring rest or pressure? Am I quieter or noisier? Could I wait an hour? Could I bless the other party equally? And then do the one thing that frees the Father within to do the works. Cease from your own strain. You will discover, quickly for some, gradually for others, that certainty is not rare. It is simply often buried, and as you practice returning, it rises, and with it, A new way of living in which decisions are not wrestled into being but allowed to be born in peace. Now remember this. Mental chatter demands, spiritual assurance settles. That settling is the signature of the inner instructor. Look for it, honor it, obey it, and you will find that the very atmosphere in which you live begins to change. And with the atmosphere changed, the outward life, without fanfare, comes into harmony by the quiet law of alignment. Now, if this settling, this blessed assurance, is the signature of the inner instructor, the question follows at once. How do we live in such a way that assurance may have the right of way? And here we come to what I must call the great reversal. Agency reversed from the personal to the indwelling. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Do you hear it not as a pious verse, but as a method? I can do nothing of myself, and therefore I am free from the strain of having to produce wisdom, to invent supply, to force harmony. The Father within doeth the works, and therefore I have a place to rest, a presence to trust, an activity already at hand to reveal and to direct. This is not a theory, this is liberty. Excuse me, but it is a holy relief. Let us be very plain as to why our guidance fails when we strain. When I must solve it, the mind manufactures proposals to calm its own fear. It drafts strategies, it canvasses opinions, it rehearses worst cases, and for a moment, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, it feels better because it has distracted itself with effort. But the relief is counterfeit. Uncertainty returns because the source is the same frightened mind that made the plan. The mind persuades, spirit settles. The mind argues, spirit reveals. The mind insists on immediate action to quiet its anxiety. Spirit grants the power to wait until the rightness appears of itself. Under strain, we do not receive guidance. We fabricate it and then pray that God will come and bless our fabrication. That is why we are so tired. Now remember this. We do not decide first and ask God to anoint it. We become still first and let right action be revealed. Be still and know that I am God. Notice the order. Be still before the phone call, before the signature, before the answer fired back across the table. Know, not think a brighter thought, but know by the change of atmosphere that God is. And when that inward knowing is present, action, if it is to be taken, appears without trumpets. It arises as the one natural thing to do. And if no action is to be taken, restraint appears as the one natural thing to do. In either case, anxiety is not the motive. Presence is. I am going to give it to you in the form that has guided me through years of boardrooms and sick rooms and kitchens and airports. You will never need to know the whole problem. You will only need to know God. Present, you will never need to carry the weight of consequence on your shoulders as the price of obedience. You will only need to know God. Present, leave your problem to that invisible presence which is closer to you than breathing and nearer than hands and feet, and let it interpret, let it arrange, let it do the works openly that it has already accomplished secretly. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Not by luck, by law, the law of alignment. What does this look like at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday? It looks unspectacular. It looks like a man or a woman who, in the middle of a pressing hour, pushes the papers back half an inch, lowers the chin, and whispers, not as a magic charm, but as truth, Father, I can of my own self do nothing. It looks like 30 seconds of consent in which the breath lengthens and the chest loosens, and the courtroom of argument empties itself. And then, without debate, the next plain step stands up. Write one sincere sentence instead of a page of defense. Call and ask a single honest question instead of building a case. Wait until afternoon. Apologize. Sign. Do not sign. Let the order go to someone else and bless them. These are not heroics. They are obediences, and they bear their own fruit, because they are born of the presence. The outer scene rearranges, not because you have pressed hard enough, but because you have ceased pressing and allowed the Father within to govern. I must interrupt myself to rescue you from two equal errors. One is to call this passivity. It is not. In this way of living there is action, sometimes swift, sometimes quiet, but it is action without fever. The yoke is easy and the burden is light, not because nothing is done, but because you are not the doer. The other error is to take the words, "I can of my own self do nothing," as a ritual to force God's hand. It cannot be forced. The words are true whether or not we say them, but when we say them with the heart, we relax into the truth and become transparent to it. And then the works, healing, reconciliation, supply, right timing, are done. If I speak of myself, I bear witness to a lie. If I rest in the Father within, I bear witness to the truth. Why does this free us so thoroughly? Because guidance is a function of government, and government belongs to God. You and I have suffered because we have attempted self-government on matters that do not belong to us. The outcome, the timetable, the approval of others. In the reversal of agency, we retain only what is ours: attention, consent, honesty, willingness. We release to the indwelling presence what is God's: revelation, direction, fruition. When we cross those lines, we grow weary and confused. When we honor them, we are kept. Do you hear that word again? Kept. Now let us make it practical at once, for I do not want this to float as a noble sentiment and then vanish when you start the car. When a question presents itself, should I speak now? Should I accept this appointment? Should I move? Stop where you are, even if only for one breath, and say within yourself, "I can of mine own self do nothing." Do not hurry from those words to an answer. Linger in them until you feel even a slight subsiding of pressure. Then add, "Where I am, God is. Where God is, I am." Sit there inwardly for the space of 10 heartbeats. If assurance arises, follow it. If no assurance arises, refrain. If you must move because the train is leaving, do the next obvious courtesy. Buy the ticket, send the brief reply, schedule for later, but do not call it guidance yet. Keep your inner ear turned, and before long, you will find that what was cloudy has cleared without wrestling. In time, and I can say this with a great deal of authority after living it across continents and calendars, this reversal becomes a habit of being. You do not retire to a monastery. You carry the monastery in your chest. You do not announce your method to the world. You quietly practice it at the sink, at the desk, at the bedside, and you will see the same reward again and again. When personal strain stops, guidance begins, because the Father within is free to do the work of revealing and directing. The fruit will testify: fewer apologies for hasty words, doors opening that had been shut, supply arriving without bargaining, relationships softening without manipulation. Beautiful. And now, because I will not leave you with phrases only, we shall turn this into a usable exercise, simple, human, learnable. Meditation, as we shall see, does not create guidance. It uncovers the guidance already present by quieting the interference. In our next moments together, I will show you how to enter that hush on purpose, how to watch thoughts subside until certainty appears, and how to carry that inner stillness into the day so that your steps are ordered, not by the alarms of the world, but by the wordless assurance of God within. Meditation, then, is the door we open so that the wordless certainty may make itself known. And I want to say this plainly so that no one feels disqualified before beginning. Meditation is something of an art that can be learned. It is not a talent awarded to a favored few. It is not the province of those who wear robes or have mastered a vocabulary. High or low, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, saint or sinner, It makes no difference because the kingdom of God is within you, and that is the only qualification. I am in a position to say this to you with a great deal of authority because I have watched it in my own life and across many lives in many places. Anyone and everyone can learn to turn within, to hush, to consent, and in that consenting to discover that guidance does not come as louder thinking, but as a settled knowing. I must interrupt myself to remove a picture that delays progress. Meditation is not daydreaming, nor is it a technique by which we hypnotize ourselves into certainty. It is not a cloud nine on which we float while the world runs past. It is attention turned Godward, within, and held there long enough for the fever of mental wrestling to break. It is not passivity, it is alignment. It does not make God speak, it clears the static so that we can notice what God is already doing as the life of our being. Go into thy closet, shut the door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. The closet is the gathered attention. The door is shut when the mind ceases to demand. The Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly, not by magic, but by the law that what is realized within will appear as harmony without. Now remember this, for it will save you much discouragement. Illumination at first may come as 5 seconds of peace. 5 seconds. And those 5 seconds are not a failure. They are the beginning of the art. If you will honor them, they will become 10. If you will return to them without scolding yourself when they seem small, they will become a minute and they will arrive more often, and eventually they will arrive when you ask. And one day you will discover that you do not have to ask. You simply turn, and there it is. This has a rhythm to it, the way any art has a rhythm. Some take to it quickly as if they were born for it, and others feel clumsy for a season, like a pianist who must look at every key. But in both cases, practice becomes fluency. Hints of peace grow to occasional illumination. Occasional illumination grows to daily illumination. Daily illumination grows, in time and with love, to at-will recognition. I have watched this unfold over months and years, and in my own case there came a point when these visitations of peace, which were rare, became familiar, then frequent, and then available 20 times a day just for the turning. Beautiful. What are we doing in these periods? We are not manufacturing a message. We are uncovering what is present. We are consenting to stillness until the evidence of God appears as peace. And do mark that word, evidence. Peace is proof that God is on the field. Agitation is proof that we are still wrestling mentally. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. If your mind is stayed on the problem, even as you speak holy words, agitation will tell on you. Do not be ashamed. Simply begin again. Turn from the picture, turn from the argument, turn within and say, Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Where I am, God is. And then wait, not as one who must coax a reluctant giver, but as one who abides at home until the atmosphere changes by even half a shade. That half shade is worth more than 100 opinions. It is the signature of the inner instructor. And I am going to say something that may surprise you if you have been waiting for a voice from the ceiling. When I say that guidance is without words, I do not mean that words will never appear. I mean that certainty precedes wording and often makes wording unnecessary. Do you see the difference? The mind wants a sentence it can print in bold and tape to the refrigerator. Spirit gives a knowing that settles the heart, and from that settlement a step is taken, not because a sentence commanded it, but because the rightness of the step was self-evident in peace. Sometimes, after the knowing, a phrase will rise: call now, wait, bless and release, apologize. But when it does, it comes on the tide of quiet, not as a verdict from the courtroom. If no phrase comes at all, the peace itself suffices until the next ordinary rightness appears. The peace of God which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. Let it keep you first. Let instruction, if needed, be fruit. How then shall we practice? Simply, humanly, often. Choose a few pauses in your day, on waking, before stepping into a meeting, parked in the car, before going in the house, at the sink, at the bedside, and in those pauses, close your eyes a moment, not to avoid the world, but to close the door on its noise. Let the shoulders drop. Let the breath lengthen without management. Whisper within yourself, not loudly, not insistently, "Father, here I am. I can of my own self do nothing." Do not rush to finish that sentence with a request. Linger there and notice. Do you feel the faintest softening? Does the argument loosen its grip by a degree? That is it. That is the beginning. Stay there. If a thought parades itself, do not fight it. Let it pass as you would let a neighbor's car pass down the street. Return to your little truth. Where I am, God is. You are not adding God to you. You are acknowledging God as the life of you. And in that acknowledgement, the mental weather begins to clear. Set your expectation low and your devotion high. If you find only 10 seconds today, be grateful and keep them sacred. Do not publicize them. Keep your finger on your lip and keep the secret with God. Sacredness multiplies by secrecy. Very soon you will notice that those little returns change the flavor of a conversation, the courage with which you answer a letter, the timeliness of a phone call, the patience with which you listen to a child. You will notice that you apologize sooner and defend yourself less, not because you have willed it, but because the condition of peace has altered the impulse. The Father within me doeth the works. In those moments, do you see that you are not exerting, you are consenting? I want to save you from 2 discouragements that arise in the early stages. One is the complaint, "My thoughts will not stop." Of course, they will not stop on command. The mind has been running the show and is nervous at being deposed. Do not make war with it. Let it run out of breath while you abide in the simple truth of presence. The second is, nothing happened. Ah, but did you grow quieter by a hair's breadth? Did your breath lengthen? Did you feel a little more able to wait before answering? That is something happening. That is the first evidence. Honor it. Despise not the day of small things. The kingdom's rhythm is gentle. If you are faithful with 5 seconds, 5 minutes will be entrusted to you. If you are faithful with 5 minutes, you will wake one morning and discover that throughout your day, at will, you can step back an inch, and there it is. The hush, the settledness, the lamp lit within. And allow me to bring the universality of this to your heart, because our world trains us to disqualify ourselves. You may say, "But I have a temper, but I have debts, but I have failed." And I say to you, this is not about deserving. It would be an impossibility that God should take me out of the millions and hand me a practice that is not available to everyone else. This is not about merit, it is about presence. God's presence already within you. Bring your temper to the quiet. Bring your debts to the quiet. Bring your failures to the quiet. You will not be scolded there. You will be settled there. And from that settling, you will be shown the next honest step, and then the next, and the next. Proof will come by fruit. Small harmonies at first, then larger ones. Do you doubt it? Try and see. Now I am going to interrupt myself because I can feel the question forming. Could you show us? Yes, but only in a way that refuses performance. What we shall do is not a display. It is the simplest of things. An invitation for you to notice in yourself, right where you sit, the difference between the mind that demands and the spirit that settles. We will take a few breaths together. We will say within ourselves a few true words, not to get an answer, but to acknowledge presence. We will watch for the moment, however small, when the inner weather shifts. And when it does, we will do nothing heroic with it. We will just recognize God is on the field. That will be enough for tonight. In the next minutes, we will let the chatter subside until certainty appears, not because we made it appear, but because we ceased to argue and allowed the inner instructor to be what it is, the quiet government of our lives. Then let us do it. Let us close the door on the world, not as those who slam a door in panic, but as those who gently draw it to because the conversation is now within. If you will, lower the gaze or close the eyes, not to escape, but to gather. Let the shoulders drop by a fraction, the hands rest where they are. We are not beginning a performance. We are consenting to presence. Be still and know that I am God. Do you hear that? Be still first, know after. So we begin with stillness, not imposed, but allowed. Whisper within, very simply, Father, here I am. That is all. Not here is my case, not here is my fear, but here I am. Now do not command the mind to stop. We are not policemen. We are witnesses. Notice the stream of thoughts as if you were sitting on the riverbank and they were boats passing. When you do not climb aboard, they drift. Do you notice? The argument tries to present its brief. You do not take the paper. The clock tries to hurry you. You do not obey. The body offers a fidget. You let it pass. And each time a thought calls your name, simply return, almost lazily, to your little truth. Here I am. Or if you like, I can of mine own self do nothing. Do you feel how the air inside lengthens? How the breath deepens without your ordering it? That is not hypnosis. That is release. In this returning there comes, often quietly, often almost imperceptibly, the shift, a settling back, a soft hollowing out of the push. The pressure loses its argument, something like assurance, but not the personal assurance of I've figured it out. No, no. This is a quiet that does not come from you. This is God's peace. It has a weight to it and at the same time a lightness, as if the center of you has finally sat down in its own chair. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Do you recognize it? Even in embryo, do not grab it, nod to it, let it keep you. And I will interrupt myself to rescue you from a common misstep. This stillness is not blankness. This is not a nap. It is not a fog. It is an alert receptivity. The ears of the heart are pricked. The eyes within are open. It is as if a presence has entered the room. Yet it is not new, only newly noticed, for it has been here closer than breathing all along. If drowsiness comes, acknowledge it and sit up a touch. But do not confuse the quieting of argument with the dulling of awareness. This is the quiet that sharpens. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Feel that word, strength without tension. Now what shall we do with the thoughts that return as if they had a right to rule? We do not fight them, we return to presence. Every return is a victory of allegiance, not a failure of technique. The thought comes, the bill due, the harsh word, the plan. Do not argue, do not promise to fix. Say again, as if to place your feet where they belong, here I am. Or, where I am, God is, where God is, I am. If another wave rises, do the same. You will discover that unfed thoughts tire. They wanted a quarrel. You offered a sanctuary. They cannot live long in that atmosphere. The Father which seeth in secret, this inward consenting, rewardeth openly. Stay here a moment longer. Let us not be in a hurry to get a result. Let us be in love with the presence. If out of the hush a phrase arises, notice the quality of it. It does not shout, it does not bully. It comes clothed in the quiet it rode in on. Perhaps it is wait, perhaps call now, perhaps nothing at all, except the sweetness of keptness. Do not reach past the peace to seize a sentence. Let peace have you. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. When you are kept, you do not need to keep grasping. Now, how does this help in the hours when a choice presents itself and a clock seems to mock you? In precisely this way, you do not go hunting for guidance like a lost animal. You return to the chair inside until the same quality of quiet assurance is present. Then you take the next natural step that arises out of that assurance. Not 3 steps, not 20. 1. You will notice that from this place, some steps evaporate. You no longer feel compelled to answer that provocation, to defend that position, to press that sale. From this place, some steps clarify. Write the one honest sentence, make the one clean phone call, pay the one bill you can pay, and bless the rest rather than cursing the lack. The outer world begins to arrange itself around the inner government. In relationships, you will prove it quickly. The next time a conversation bristles, do this very thing for 10 heartbeats. Before you answer, close the door inwardly. Here I am. Do you feel even a small settling? Then speak from there, or do not speak from there, but do not speak from frenzy. You will discover that the soft answer that seemed impossible a moment before has become inevitable, or that silence has become wisdom. Hardness melts, or if hardness remains in the other, it does not reproduce itself in you, and the fruit? Fewer regrets, quicker reconciliations, respect that cannot be demanded outwardly but is conferred inwardly. That is guidance expressing as harmony. In supply, the same law functions. I am not asking you to engineer income with metaphysics. I am asking you to honor presence until it orders you rightly. From the hush may come the nudge to tidy what you have neglected, to make right what you have postponed, to release what you have been clutching. From the hush may come a radical quiet, no word to hustle, only the settled knowing to bless what is and proceed faithfully with the work at hand. Then, in ways you did not calculate, supply uncovers itself. An old invoice paid, a new introduction, an idea that was waiting beneath the noise. Not luck. Alignment. Let me say it in a way you can carry. Guidance is not manufactured in the silence. It is recognized. Certainty does not arrive as a louder argument. It arrives as the climate of presence in which rightness is self-evident. You will know you have touched it not because fireworks went off, but because the heart has ceased bargaining. The mind can still ask questions, but it has lost the gavel. And out of that inner government, you live the next hour simply, obediently, beautiful. We shall open our eyes now, or raise the gaze, without leaving the sanctuary. Do you see? You can move your hands, you can stand, you can walk to the car, and the inner door need not swing wide to the world's clamor. Return to "Here I am" as often as thought demands homage, 20 times a day if necessary, 100, not to earn God, but to remember God. And watch how, over days and weeks, this simple, secret returning becomes the most practical thing in your life. Better than analysis in a crisis, better than bravado in a negotiation, better than self-defense in a misunderstanding. The Father within doeth the works. Your part is to return until certainty appears, and then to let that certainty walk you out into the day. Now, if we have done our work rightly in the inner room, the question must be asked in the outer room: how shall we know that this guidance has been real? I am going to give you the simple test that our Master taught and that life has confirmed for me in sick rooms and boardrooms and train stations, from Honolulu to New York, from London through Europe to South Africa. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly, and again, by their fruits ye shall know them. Do you hear the pattern? Not by volume, not by visions, but by fruit, by the way outer life arranges itself when inner contact has been made. Not luck. Alignment. Now let me let you in on a secret that will save you from much discouragement. The first fruit often appears before any condition changes. The first fruit is that fear evaporates. The bill is still due, the diagnosis still on the paper, the relationship still sore, and yet something in you has sat down. The heart has ceased bargaining, the mind has lost the gavel. Perfect love casteth out fear. That is not poetry, that is evidence. When fear loses its argument, the Father has been touched. Conditions may take a day, a week, a season to reveal their new order, but already the atmosphere has shifted, and atmosphere governs outcome. After this first fruit, practical signs begin to appear, quiet, ordinary, but unmistakable if you are honest. Calmer speech. You answer a harsh word with a soft answer that turns away wrath, and you did not rehearse it. It arose of itself out of the peace. Fewer impulsive decisions. You discover that the 10-minute wait that once felt like torture has become wisdom, and in that wait, the frantic step that would have complicated everything simply dissolves. Reconciled relationships. You apologize sooner, you defend yourself less, and you notice, almost with surprise, that the other person softens without being conquered. More appropriate timing. A phone call placed at 3 instead of at 9 finds the situation ready. A meeting quietly moved to Thursday avoids a collision you could not have foreseen. Unexpected openings. A letter arrives, an introduction is made. A way appears where there seemed none, not because you knocked loud enough, but because you stood still long enough for the door that belonged to you to open. Now remember this, because it rescues us from disappointment. Sometimes fruit is immediate, and sometimes it grows. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Do not despise the blade. If today's fruit is only that you did not say the second cutting sentence, honor it. If today's fruit is only that you slept through the night for the first time in 3 weeks, though nothing outward has yet changed, honor it. The Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly, openly in you first as rest, and then openly around you as order. I must interrupt myself, because here is the mistake that robs us of proof. We look for spectacle. We want fireworks, a voice from the ceiling, a miracle that can be reported in the marketplace. And in so doing, we step past the miracle that is present. Ordinary steps made luminous by rightness. Guidance frequently wears work clothes. It looks like a single honest sentence in a difficult email instead of a page of defense. It looks like not sending the email at all until morning. It looks like returning a small overpayment you could have ignored. It looks like paying the one bill you can pay and blessing the rest. There is nothing theatrical here, and yet these little obediences, born of inner certainty, rearrange outcomes more surely than trumpets. Let me give you patterns, not boasts. There have been hours when, after turning within until the hush was present, the next step stood up plain. Call now. The conversation that would have been a quarrel at noon became a reconciliation at 2. On other days, the hush gave only wait, and by waiting, an entire tangle unwound itself without argument. In supply, there were months when I could not see how figures would meet, and after settling into the presence, the nudge was to tidy the ledger, to bless what was, to release a resentment, and within days an old invoice was paid or a new avenue opened that I could not have engineered. In the ministry, I have watched a body respond to peace before a remedy touched it. The fever broke when fear broke, and the physician's work moved forward on a field already cleared by God's peace. Do you see? Not magic. Order. How shall you use this in your own day so that you are not guessing? Begin to notice 3 kinds of fruit. First, inward fruit, the disappearance of compulsion, the ease to wait, the softening of the heart. Second, behavioral fruit, words that are fewer and truer, actions that are simple and sufficient, restraint that is natural rather than forced. Third, circumstantial fruit, meetings that land in right relation, misunderstandings that clarify without a fight, doors that open without pounding. If you touch the hush and then find yourself driven, defensive, insistent, stop. That's not fruit, that's the mind rushing back to seize the wheel. If you touch the hush and find yourself honest, patient, unafraid, go on. Even if nothing has moved in the outer scene yet, that is fruit already, and the scene will follow. There is another sign, and I give it to you, because it has guided me when opportunities presented themselves with a sparkle that was not of God. True openings respect integrity. They do not require you to betray your conscience, to talk louder than truth, to sell what you do not believe. False openings flatter fear and inflame urgency. True openings may come swiftly, but never with panic. They come with that signature settling. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Trust that strength more than you trust glitter. Do not make a ledger out of this as if you could grade God's work by Tuesday night. The orchard does not ripen on your timetable, but it does ripen by law. If you will keep your practice secret and steady, turning within, consenting to the hush, letting the Father within do the works, you will discover a steady increase of harmony. Fewer arguments within, fewer arguments without. Less waste of time and energy, more rightness at first touch. What begins as 5 seconds of peace becomes a climate in which you live, and from that climate come right words, right meetings, right provision. The Father which seeth in secret rewardeth openly. Beautiful. And because this is universal, no one here is disqualified from proving it. High or low, rich or poor, saint or sinner, it makes no difference. Taste and see, practice and look, not for wonders to tell about, but for the quiet rearrangements that say, God is governing here. You will know. Your household will know. Your business will know. Harmony is shy, but not invisible. It will show its face when invited by peace. Now there are hours when the signs seem mixed, when fear masquerades as ease, when timing is tangled, when a counterfeit peace offers a shortcut that will cost you later. Do not be troubled. Our next work is to refine discernment for those edge cases. And how shall we do it? Not by more thinking, but by returning again to the quality of peace that strengthens integrity and patience. For tonight, let fruit comfort you. Where the inner instructor has been honored, outer life tends toward harmony, not by luck, but by alignment. Now, let us be honest together, because honesty is the only path on which this way will walk with us. There are hours when we touch that hush, so surely, so sweetly, that we think the case is settled, and 10 minutes later, agitation rises like a second tide and washes our ankles with sand again. And immediately the mind accuses, you failed, it wasn't real, you lost it. No, do not accept that verdict. The sea does not fail because a wave returns. What happened in those minutes was not nothing. You touched reality, and then the old habit came visiting. That does not erase the reality. It merely indicates that we must return again and again until the climate holds beyond one wave. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not glanced. So if the peace seem to slip, do not scold yourself. Return. Return as often as thought demands homage, until thought lays down its sword. And I am going to interrupt myself right here, because we must place a guard at the gate. Not every ease is peace. There is a counterfeit that I have known in my own experience, and that you will meet, what I call avoidance peace. It feels like relief because we have looked away. It feels like quiet because we have muted responsibility. It is the quiet of anesthesia, not the quiet of presence. How do you know the difference? True peace strengthens integrity. Avoidance dulls it. True peace leaves you clearer, kinder, cleaner. Avoidance leaves you secretive, superior, and soon reactive when questioned. True peace can walk into the meeting and tell the truth without a tremor of self-defense. Avoidance crumbles when the first honest question is asked. True peace makes you able to wait without nibbling at the edges. Avoidance rushes to seal a deal at any price because it cannot bear uncertainty. God is not the author of confusion. And where God's peace reigns, there is a simple rightness that does not fear the light. Now, remember this because it will save you hours. Timing is part of guidance. We want a blueprint for next year. Spirit gives a lamp for the next step. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. A lamp unto the feet does not cast 10 miles of headlight. It gives enough to take one honest step and the grace to wait for the next. This is not stinginess, it is safety. The mind that demands the 5-year plan is the mind that wants to reclaim control. The Father within me doeth the works day by day, and if I will accept today's instruction and today's grace, tomorrow will rise to meet me precisely when it is called today. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof, and equally sufficient, beloved, is the grace thereof. How shall you test what presents itself as guidance in those mixed hours? Very simply, ask, does this make me kinder, not sentimental? Kinder, does this make me simpler, not simplistic? Simple in motive, in word, in step. Does this make me more honest, willing to be seen as I am without embroidery? Or does it make me more secretive, hiding details, shaping narratives, rehearsing superiority? Does it free me to wait, or does it infect me with hurry? Does it make me easier to live with? If what you call guidance requires you to harden yourself, to press others, to polish your story, to keep secrets that are not sacred but self-protective, stop. That is not the inner instructor. If what you call guidance reduces your words, steadies your hands, loosens your jaw, and leaves you open to correction, go on. That is the climate of God. I can speak to you with authority here because I have paid tuition to learn it. There was a season when an opportunity glittered in front of me. Letters, promises, and my own quiet fatigue conspiring to say, take it and be done. After a short sitting, I felt a peace, but it was thin and brittle, and it broke the moment I tried to lay it in front of trusted friends. They had questions. I bristled. I justified. I hurried. That is your sign right there. I went ahead anyway, oh yes, and within weeks I was mending what a patient day would have prevented. Out of the wreckage I learned to sit longer than my impatience, to test my supposed peace by its ability to stand in daylight, to confess, I do not know, and let that not knowing become the doorway through which true knowing could enter. Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom. Childlike does not mean foolish. It means willing to be taught now without the pretense of certainty. Do not be afraid to say, I do not know, both to God and to people. That sentence is a broom that clears the stage for the Father within to speak as certainty. If I speak of myself, I bear witness to a lie. When I lay down my performance, the need to announce my wisdom, I discover that in due season, the one word or the one silence that is mine to offer comes without strain and without apology. Humility is not self-belittlement, it is accurate sizing. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. And in that sizing, guidance is no longer my responsibility to manufacture. It is my joy to recognize. Let me give you a small, practical scene that many of you will meet before tomorrow morning. The difficult email, if you write it from agitation disguised as ease, it will be long, it will be defensive. It will include just enough omission to tilt the story in your favor, and you will feel compelled to send it now. If you write it from true peace, it will be shorter. It will contain one honest sentence you did not want to include, and that frees both of you, and you will be equally at ease to send it at 9 or to wait until 3. Or from true peace, you may not write it at all. You may pick up the phone at a time that has become obvious and find that What you feared dissolves in the voice. Do you see the difference? Not magic, atmosphere. There is another discernment, and it is a kindness to you. True peace increases patience with process. It does not resent the time another soul needs to meet you. It does not require you to push, to threaten, to manipulate. It trusts the order that is not of your arranging. Avoidance peace is a tyrant. It must have closure now because it cannot tolerate the discomfort of living by faith. If you notice that you are engineering outcomes with words that are just a shade too strong, a tone that is just a note too high, step back. Return to the chair within until you can say honestly, "Here I am," and feel again the unhurried government that does not need your drumbeat to accomplish its ends. What shall you do then when the signals mix? Do not think more. Do not pull out paper and attempt to argue yourself into a verdict. Return to the quality of peace that strengthens integrity and patience. Sit until the atmosphere shifts even by a hair. From there, take one step or take none. If none, hold your place in quiet fidelity. If one, let it be small, clean, and in the light. Check the fruit immediately after. Are you softer, clearer, more truthful? If yes, keep on. If no, stop and return. And if you discover later that you stepped on the strength of avoidance, do not add a second mistake by defending the first. Turn around with humility, make the amends that are yours, and come back to the hush that never condemned you in the first place. Grace does not humiliate. Grace corrects. And because we are not playing at religion but establishing a life, we must build structure around this so that, in the press of hours, we do not try to live on memory. Guidance becomes dependable not by occasional brilliance, but by repeated return. I am going to suggest in our next moments together a simple rule of life, nothing exotic, nothing theatrical, by which you will return to the inner instructor 20 times a day until returning is as natural to you as drawing breath. Then the mixed signals quiet themselves not by analysis but by habit, not by exertion but by established atmosphere. For tonight, let this be our summation. Do not chase answers. Return to presence. Do not strain for clarity. Wait in peace. And as peace strengthens your integrity and deepens your patience, you will find that what once confused you now presents itself honestly, and the step that is yours becomes, without words, self-evident. Beautiful. Now let me give you what I promised, a rule so simple that a child can keep it, so free of performance that there is nothing to show, only something to live. We are not establishing a monastery timetable. We are establishing an atmosphere. Guidance becomes dependable not because we sweat at it, but because we return to presence so often that certainty can rise of itself, without strain, without words. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths, not in some of thy ways, in all. And acknowledging does not demand a paragraph. It may be 5 seconds. It may be one breath. It may be the inward whisper, "Here I am." I am going to suggest 20 returns a day as a beginning rhythm. Do not count them with a stopwatch. Do not make a religion of tally marks. Let these be small turnings that tuck themselves into the seams of your hours until returning is as natural as drawing breath. We begin upon waking. Before you reach for the light or the device or the calendar, reach within. One breath. Father, here I am. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Let the mind stay for one inhale, one exhale, then rise. Before you enter the first room where voices live, kitchen, office, classroom, pause in the doorway as if the door were a sacrament. The threshold is a bell. In all thy ways, acknowledge him. Step in from the inner hush, not from the scattered edge. Before the first call, before the first email, the same. Do not present your case. Present yourself. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Then dial, then type. Before meals, not as a speech, not as display, just the inner nod. Where I am, God is. Taste becomes prayer, conversation becomes kinder. During the day, fix small bells to ordinary acts. Every time you wash your hands, let the water be a reminder. Let the argument go down the drain. Let the clinging go with the suds. Create in me a clean heart, O God. When you walk through a doorway, when you sit down and when you stand up, when the phone rings and when it ends. Each transition is a hinge on which you can hang a second of turning. 5 seconds before a decision. 3 seconds after agitation. A breath before you answer a child, a colleague, a stranger. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first, know after. If a fear presents itself, and it will because we are not vacating human hours, treat it as a summons to the inner room, not as an enemy at the gate. Close the inner door, even with eyes open in the middle of a meeting. Peace, be still. Do you think you must withdraw for an hour? No, seconds are sufficient to change the climate. The argument will want an argument. You will give it a sanctuary. You will notice, as we have practiced, that unfed thoughts tire, and in their place the faint outline of rightness appears. Take only that step which can be seen in that light, then return again before the next step. At midday, give yourself a slightly longer pause, 2 minutes, 3, without ceremony. Close the door of your office if you can, or close the door inside yourself if you cannot. Do not contemplate problems, contemplate presence. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Nothing to get, something to consent to. Then go on with your work. You will discover that the very same tasks now line up under a government that is not yours to maintain, and that the people you must meet find you easier to meet. Make the commute holy. At the red light, at the train platform, in the parking lot, before you go in, 5 breaths. Acknowledge Him. If a horn blasts behind you, do not tease Providence by testing the patience of your neighbor. I am not suggesting trance. I am suggesting awareness. Even one breath undertaken in secret will keep you from carrying the world into the room on your shoulders. In the late afternoon, when fatigue tries to invent urgency, do not trust your first impulse. Return. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. Out of that peace you may decide to send nothing, to decide nothing, to hold your place until morning. Do not mistake quiet for delay. Often it is precision. The poor decisions of 5 o'clock wither in the light of 9. Let evening be wiser by design. Now here is a rule inside the rule, and it will spare you waste. Never use these turnings to appear spiritual. Keep it secret. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Keep your finger on the lip. Do not announce, do not decorate, do not correct others with your practice. Let fruit speak. If peace is real, it will register in softened words, in fewer explanations, in patience. The moment you are tempted to mention how often you return, you have already left. Come back. Secrecy protects sacredness. Sacredness protects power. This practice is not a way to avoid life. Life continues, telephones ring, children cry, bills arrive. Reports are due, bodies grow tired, but you are meeting all of it from a different center. The storm may visit, but it does not find the same house. Whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, is like a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. The rock is not a brilliant argument. The rock is this settled consent to the presence that is within you already. On that rock, guidance is a climate rather than a crisis. You no longer hunt answers. You abide until rightness reveals itself, and then you do that little rightness. Before sleep, close the circle you opened at waking. Lay the day with its praises and its blunders on the inner altar. Into thy hands I commend my spirit. Do not rehearse failures, release them. If correction is needed, the morning light will show it. Let night be consent, not analysis. Many of the next day's tangles untie in the dark, when the mind no longer pulls at them. The Father that seeth in secret rewardeth openly, openly in rest, and then openly in arrangements. I must interrupt myself with a kindness for you who will say tomorrow afternoon, I forgot. Of course you forgot. So did I. The forgetting is an invitation to remember, not a verdict. The discipline is not in never losing the thread. The discipline is in picking it up again without self-accusation. Pray without ceasing does not mean chatter at God all day. It means the heart learns to turn and turn again, swiftly, gladly, wordlessly, if need be, until the turning becomes its native posture. 10 seconds here, 5 there, a minute when there is a minute, and over weeks, over months, returning ripens into abiding. Do you see what is happening? These small obediences, repeated, change the air you live in, and in that air discernment sharpens. Outer harmony follows as fruit. It is not that conditions never trouble you, it is that they cannot govern you. And when they no longer govern you, you find that, almost shyly at first, they begin to align. A note arrives at the right hour. The word you needed is there without strain. The courage to wait feels like ease and not deprivation. The apology comes without humiliation, not luck, alignment. I am letting you in on the secret that has made my days livable and my work possible. Guidance is a relationship, not a technique. We return not to operate a mechanism, but to keep company with the inner instructor, the Holy Spirit, closer than breathing. We consent to the Father within, and the Father within doeth the works. So set your little bells, thresholds, phones, meals, sinks, beds. Set your larger bell, morning and night. Keep it secret, keep it simple, keep it steady. Return 20 times a day until returning ceases to be a task and becomes your life. And as you do, certainty will arise without strain and without words, and you will find yourself quietly governed in the midst of noise. Beautiful. So we come to this quiet place at the end of our evening, and if we listen behind the words, we can hear the thread that has led us from the doorway to this room within. We began by confessing what we all have learned the hard way, that louder thinking does not guide, that arguments do not lead us home. Then the first grace appeared, that the kingdom is not out there, but within, that instruction is not a voice shouting from the sky, but a presence already established nearer than hands and feet. We learn to sit down inside ourselves long enough to feel that settling which carries its own authority. We learn the difference between the chatter that demands and the assurance that requires nothing. We learn to lay down our private agency and say, with honesty and relief, I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. We practiced a simple art, meditation not as magic, but as a way of quieting the interference, until in the hush, certainty rose, not as words, but as rightness. Then we looked for fruit, not spectacle, order instead of odds and ends, a soft word, a patient step, a door that opens without pounding. And we set a rule of life so ordinary that it can hide anywhere. One deep silence daily, and then many little acknowledgments returning again and again until returning becomes living. That is our journey this evening, and the way does not end with the benediction. It begins afresh when you open the next door and the next dawn. Now remember this, and let me put it to you as a friend. Do not chase answers. Seek the peace that reveals answers. Do not grip decisions as if salvation were in the grasp of your fingers. Close the inner door, become still, and let the decision show itself in the light that comes only when you are not pushing. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first, no after. If you find yourself straining, let that be the bell that calls you home. Sit until the atmosphere changes, even by a breath. When the quiet certainty is present, not complacency, not passivity, but that signature settling, then do the next simple right thing. If the certainty is not present, wait. Waiting in peace is obedience. Rushing from fear is disobedience, no matter how noble the reason sounds. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. I must say this plainly because it belongs to the good news. No one here is outside this grace. High or low, rich or poor, saint or sinner, brilliant or bewildered, this is not a privilege of the few. The kingdom of God is within you, not within the qualified class. Within you, it has nothing to do with deserving. It has everything to do with consent. Anyone can meditate. Anyone can turn within. Some will find a rhythm more quickly, as a musician finds a line by ear while another follows notes with care. But music is available to both, and so is this presence. What matters is not talent but turning, not pedigree but practice, not public display but secret devotion. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. He sees you as you are, and all that is asked is that you come as you are, and be still. And so I am asking of you one simple commitment, not to me, not to a movement, but to the life of God within you. Each day set apart one period of silence, 15 minutes if you can, 5 if that is what you have. When you close your eyes, shut the inner door, and say without flourish, "Oh Father, here I am." Do not present your list, present yourself. Let thoughts come, let them go, and sit until you notice, even faintly, that the air inside has changed. That is enough. Then, through the hours, make many little acknowledgments. A breath at the threshold, a quiet nod before you answer, a second of stillness after the phone rings and before you lift it. Return 20 times a day if you can. 10 if that is your measure. 3 if today is narrow. Do not make a religion of the number. Make a life of the turning. Keep it secret, keep it simple, keep it steady. And let us be humble as we close, because humility is the doorway through which the next light enters. We do not dictate how Spirit will teach us. We do not order the menu of revelation. We abide, we wait, we welcome. Today's instruction may be a word. Tomorrow's instruction may be a silence. Today's step may be to speak. Tomorrow's step may be to keep counsel. That is not uncertainty. That is fidelity to a living teacher whose home is within you. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, a lamp unto the feet, not a searchlight to the horizon. Walk by the lamp you have, and more light will be given as you need it. Beautiful. If you ask me for the essence, I will give it to you now so that you can carry it in your pocket when you leave this room. The Holy Spirit as inner instructor is recognized as quiet certainty, and our part is to return inward until that certainty is present. Not eloquence, not pressure, certainty. When it is there, you will know. Fear will have no argument left. Hurry will be out of breath. Integrity will feel easy. And if it is not there, you will also know, because you will feel compelled to decorate the truth. That is not the time to move. That is the time to sit, to smile at your impatience, and to say again, "Father, here I am." I leave you with a blessing that is also a promise. If you will keep this communion, one quiet sitting daily, many quiet turnings hourly, the field of your life will begin to arrange itself under a government that is not of your making. Some tangles will loosen without a word. Some reconciliations will meet you halfway. Some provisions will appear as if they had been on the calendar all along. Not luck, alignment, and you will find, perhaps, to your own surprise, that you are easier to live with, inside and out. This is how we live as those taught from within. We do not advertise. We do not hurry. We do not fear. We consent. We abide. We listen. And then we take the simple right step that belongs to this hour, leaving tomorrow to its grace. Where you go now, home, work, night, the presence goes. Where I am, God is. Where God is, I am. Let that be your confidence. Let that be your communion. And as we part, we do not part from this. We carry it into the rooms of our lives, and there, in the secret places of the heart, we meet again in God. Peace be with you.